going to say something to Richie. That way, when he joins, he knows. Because I don't need an incident like what happened to me the other.
I think maybe it's better if I don't know. We're just gonna have to play it by ear with him and see if it's better to just not say anything versus saying something, because last time saying something he completely misread my YouTube is laxed and they don't tend to care as much as an endorsement to say, to basically tee off and like run one off every fucking sentence.
No. I think after you said something like that, wasn't after you said like, hey, I wasn't giving you guys permission to say it every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
First, that made me aware that you were streaming. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Second off, and then I think he did not say it for the rest of the night.
Yeah. For the he said, yeah, there was only like 2 or 3 more times, but they were very sporadic. It wasn't anywhere like before where he was just like letting them fly.
Yeah, I think I was just like, I'm just gonna let him know, and I'm gonna be like, don't, because he is, I'd say, smart enough sometimes. And then I'm hitting him with the word as soon as I said that.
Yeah.
You like that Afro Man thing, by the way, you leaked yesterday?
Yeah, I know about the guy. I hadn't heard anything from him since the one thing that popped off was because I got high so long ago. To then get the fucking information dumped about him going to trial and like base and winning and all the shit they were forced to listen to in that courtroom, I was fucking crying. And the worst part about it is that the shit was actually so fucking good for like how bad it is supposed to be. Like his ability to repurpose old classics into stupid meme trolly shit to talk shit about people now was fucking great.
Yeah, I actually saw it before you linked it, and I ended up showing the song to Richie because I was like, hey, I was like, there's no way he clicked on his phone, because, you know, it's Richie.
I've had that. I've made that joke out loud before. I think that was one where Richie got a little bit, like, not seriously upset, but he got a little fucking bitter. One time when I joked about, like, because I've talked about a bunch of times, like, how I'll link him shit in his DMs, and I know for a fact he's not looking at it, and it's all shit that I think he'd be interested in, but he just doesn't click any of it at all, and it's like, it's effectively like I didn't send him anything, and at the end of the day, he comes home and then scrolls up, he's like, oh, man, you sent me a bunch of this. Like, yeah, I did.
If you DM me something directly, I will always look at it. In that group chat, sometimes if like I'm busy, I'll like, oh, okay, I'll go look at this later, and then I never go back and look at it, which that does happen.
Yeah,
like,
which is fine. Like people have lives. Not like a fucking woman about it. But I joked, I like did what I do, and I found a way to basically like stick a knife in his fucking gut a little bit. And I joked out loud. I've never done it, but I'm actually still considering doing it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start just sending anything that I want to send to you. I'm just going to send it to Ted instead and tell him to send it to you rather than me, and then you'll look at it. He got really quiet.
He will look at it.
He knows. He got so quiet. I was like, yeah, got his ass with that one.
That's actually... yeah. What you need to do is one day send something to him, send something to me, and ask me to send it to him. And then he'll let me know if Awiz sent it to me. If he comments Awiz, oh, Awiz sent me that. Then I'll know.
I don't know that he'd offer up that information on his own. Like, you'd have to ask him.
He's done it before.
Oh.
I sent him something and he's like, hey, wait,
We could experiment with that one day. He got noticeably quiet when I joked about that shit one time. I was fucking crying. I was like, that is not a rebuttal.
Good work, Descendant.
He is who he is. It's fine. It's just funny.
It is funny.
He gets embarrassed about it. Why am I getting a Mr. Beast video in my recommended? I haven't seen this guy in fucking ages.
It's ironic too, because like he had one day where he openly acknowledged, like when it comes to like video games and shit, that there's been a lot of games, there's been enough games now that he notices a pattern that if I actually kind of like sell him on something like really, really hard and like try to get in his ear about it, it does end up being something that he ends up liking more than he realizes he's gonna like, that he didn't realize he wanted to play. And it's happened like a number of times now. But it's still like I still have to fight through those first 3 barriers that are just there for no reason. Where it's like, you know what? This would be so much easier if I just told Ted to tell him this. Then I don't have to fight through all the layers of bullshit.
Your ass playing fucking Google though.
Okay. There's a story there. There's got to be a story there. Like that was like such an unnecessary amount of slander for such a simple game that's like good to pass the time. And it gets you like 5 cents worth of points on Xbox.
I'm telling you this, okay? That game is like primarily played by like old people. Like actual old. I'm not even calling like in an attempt to call you old. No, I mean like actual like. That's a game played by like 50, 60.
Sure, I guess.
And that is like the primary audience for that, which is why we're like, what the fuck?
It's a simple game. It's fun. It's a good game to play when you're taking a dump.
I get it. You're not speaking the old man allegations here.
That's fine.
Saying it that way.
Today it was a teachable moment for me. I didn't realize that Jeweled was a fucking boomer game.
100%.
But you guys both had a very hardcore reaction at the same exact time, so I guess there's something there.
Because it's like actually a game like played by really old people. It's like it's something we probably did. Richie's mom probably plays that game. Unironically. My mom, actually, I know for a fact my mom has played that game.
Hey man, sometimes it's good to have those palate cleanser, fucking straightforward, simple games every now and then. A B-Fizz game.
B-Fizz. We don't even claim that as a B-Fizz game. We would claim that as an old man game. That's your thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Jeweled is a B-Fizz game.
They would game.
Hound Actual to HQ. Mission complete. Requesting transport support.
I don't know why I expected something grape flavored to taste like anything but grape.
That is a weird expectation.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Oh shit, I gotta go to the store and get salad dressing. I'll do that later. Fucking me, I cooked chicken for a salad yesterday. I opened up the fridge, saw my salad dressing expired, I was like, shit.
You said... Fuck me, man. Oh. In a
Luckily,
fucking series where I wasn't part of that season, it was a fucking breakaway moment that I will forever remember because of how hard I laughed and how unamused the people that were there were in the show. As you said, chicken salad, or whatever you said. I think you said chicken salad. And there was a season of
not chicken salad in like the deli, like a chicken in salad.
Okay, but you still said the two words together, which is what made me remember this. There was a season of The Ultimate Fighter where Brock Lesnar was one of the coaches, and he had this analogy that he was using where he basically was trying to turn his fighters into chicken salad because at the time they were chicken shit. And he said this with a straight face directly to their faces. And they didn't see moves. And the pinnacle of this shit was when the next fight happened and they won a fight I think they weren't supposed to win. And Brock was storming around the fucking outside of the cage like they won a championship. And he was just like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Chicken salad out of chicken shit. And you can see his whole roster of fighters were just not amused that he was just dogging on them that hard. But he wasn't wrong. But it was like two things you would have never seen back to back, like two terms that actually kind of work, but back to back, chicken salad and chicken shit. Every time I hear those two words together, I always think about Brock storming on the outside of the cage.
God, the Ultimate Fighter. You're bringing back memories, man. I forgot that shit existed. Holy
I think they still
crap.
have seasons going right now. I don't know that anybody watches them, but they still do.
They still do them?
Yes. I don't know if it's even called the same thing anymore, but they're basically the same format. I just don't think that they have the old format where the coaches fight at the end. I think they stopped doing that, and now it's just basically having coaches that just make for like a good rivalry for like a season. And if they get talent, they get talent. If they don't, they don't.
No, because I remember that was like, when did that shit start? That shit started in like the 2000s. I remember like the start. It was like Lydell and Ortiz.
They were season 3. The original season 1. The OGs that started everything was Chuck Liddell versus Randy Couture. Then season 2 was Rich Franklin, Matt Hughes. 3 was Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell. 4, I think, was the weird one where they brought back a bunch of guys that got cut, a bunch of old guys instead of young talent. It was old guys that like had like varying levels of success. And it was I think it was Matt Serra versus Matt Hughes. And then anything after that, I don't actually remember by numbers anymore. I think 5 was BJ Penn versus Jens Pulver. That one I only remember because BJ Penn had like the greatest showing ever as a coach because he was a total fucking troll the whole time.
Lydell is actually like season. I'm looking at it now. Lydell is actually like Ortiz is actually season 10. Like season 3 was actually Ortiz versus Ken Shamrock.
Oh, that's the one I'm remembering. Okay. Yeah. Yep. You're right. I forgot.
I think you're right. Season 4 is like it says something weird like Team Mojo versus Team No Love.
That sounds like Cody Garbrandt. One of those was I don't know if they called it officially season 4, but one of those was the veteran season, where there was it was Matt Hughes and Matt Serra. But yeah, anything past 5, then at that point I stopped remembering exactly who was what. I remember like coach pairings they've had. Like I know they had one with Frank Mir and Big Nogueira. They had one with Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate. That was a bit of a dicey season. That was like I think that was when Ronda solidified herself as like a legitimate villain that nobody liked. Um. Uh. Oh, they had George St. Pierre, Josh Koscheck was one. Um. John Jones had one against Chael Sonnen. That was a good season. Chael was fucking goated that season.
Apparently, the last one was Chael Sonnen versus Daniel Cormier. Cormier.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, you're pretty much, it's close enough. They
Yeah,
still
they
still
are-
have some
I mean-
format of it still going now, but it's just not the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the last one was what 2025. I'm assuming they're gonna have one in 2026. It seems it runs around the same time every year.
Yeah.
End of May till August. I didn't know people still watch that shit. Apparently they do.
I think they also had a season where it was actual gyms too. They had the Black Zillions versus American Top Team, if I remember correctly. Both of them are in Florida, so that's like a local rivalry. Pretty sure that was the season where Kamaru Usman was discovered.
Mm. That's some bullshit. I
What do you
fucking random John Berkdahl shit is always just. Having these next 4 days off is really gonna be like a fucking palate cleanser for life, I would say. Because I can't remember the last time I took off and just didn't do shit, which is kind of what I need.
Yeah.
Normally, I take off and I'm like traveling, or no, I'm always traveling, or I'm going to a tournament, and it's like as much as I like to say like I'm enjoying that time, it's not relaxing. I don't think I've taken any time to relax. Especially anytime I'm at my parents' house, never fucking relax. It's always some bullshit going on. My mom wakes me up at fucking 6 a.m. every day because she's letting the dog come sleep in my bed when after she wakes up. And of course, the way he comes in the room, he goes and he jumps on the bed. So he goes and jumps on the bed. So he jumps on me. And he's not a small dog. He is the size. He is like 100 pounds. Oh my god, the streamer fucking asked GPT to make a Yu-Gi-Oh deck for them. The doc could give you a good Yu-Gi-Oh deck.
Ugh. Wait, is that already?
Run! Ho!
That's funny.
Yeah. Ho! Run. Hiya. Yeah. Ho! Ho! Hiya.
To a mass.
No deal's off the table if the money's good. Why don't you pick out some more? My thanks. What can I help you for? No one's bound to deal with me. Farewell.
Bro, it's funny seeing how people can build full ass planes on fucking Breath of the Wild.
Hiya. Ho! Yeah. Faster.
A mere pebble remembers the ages it's seen. My thanks. A mere pebble. I'll be here if you ever need a lucky charm.
I really can't believe how they fucked up this Tekken season. Like, what is the like? I just like don't understand if they just don't know what people want or what the fuck the problem is, because I think people were pretty clear about what they wanted.
For a while now, yeah.
Yeah, and somehow it went in the opposite direction again. How the fuck does that even happen?
Oh. There
Oh,
it goes.
Minecraft Dungeons 2 is coming this year.
Mix herbs, honey, and water in a 2:1:2 ratio. Then boil. You'll have a cold tea for 3 times. Water truly is a wondrous thing. Yeah.
Oh.
First episode of JoJo Bizarre Adventures come out. The creators ask when the second episode will be released. They said, I want to see it too. When will it be? I don't know. It takes a lot of time to make just one episode, but production is going smoothly, and I'm looking forward to seeing Fish episode as much as you are. And then people are like, wait a second, how do you, the creator, not know when your episode's going to come out? That's
I mean, I think that's kind of fair.
Yeah, but normally, you know, with a TV show, you kind of like do.
You could say where you
episodes.
could communicate it better, saying we're targeting this, or this, but then ultimately say like you know, timelines change and all that other PR bullshit that's actually true. Like the messaging could be better, but I mean there is something kind of refreshing about a brutally honest answer of I don't know.
This is true.
It's just
then
people
it's
are
actually-
fucking entitled when it comes to that kind of shit.
Yes, but then it begs the question: why did they just release one episode?
It could be a number of reasons. Not saying any of them are good, but there could be a number of reasons for
I was
that.
gonna say I don't think there's a good like. I've never seen a TV show just do that. Release one episode and be like, "Yep."
It's truly a place of healing. It's all very suspicious.
Something the matter?
My son was admitted here, but they won't let me see him. Everyone says that no one leaves until their treatment is done.
My family's in the same situation, aren't they?
I heard there's someone smuggling Halcyon robes nearby.
But the price they're asking is absurd.
You know what platform it's being released on?
There's no sneaking
No one's
in
surprised.
either.
Oh,
Netflix.
doesn't the Church of Hernan sell entry passes?
You want to talk about something dicey, like a surface level that's like half transparent, but also like equally dicey while being half transparent? The fact that they showed the entire cast for the live action upcoming Netflix Assassin's Creed. They literally showed the entire cast on like a poster board or whatever in a tweet, and they refused to specify who's playing what.
Oh.
And there's not a single person on there that like admittedly looks like, okay, clearly that's gonna be the main guy.
Do you even know if it's supposed to be about,
That's the other thing too, and you know they're trying to skirt around that too, because the minute we bring that up, it's gonna be like, oh, you guys are just sexist, you guys hate women, and blah, blah. It's like, no, the fuck we don't. Say you guys just have a bad habit of doing this all the time, and the fact that you're now hiding it also just makes it look worse. So it's like, yeah, what if we do actually all jump the gun and assume the worst? We're like, oh, they're just gonna fucking do the thing that they always do. The South Park memes, like, oh, put a chick in it, make it lame and gay. What if that actually does happen? We assume it's gonna happen. You Grant say like, oh, you guys don't know anything about what we're doing. We're not gonna do that. And then the fucking shit comes out. And that's exactly what they did.
Well, come on. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
I'm trying to be glass half empty about this. Like, I don't like that they're not specifying who's playing what. And it gives me reason to be a little suspicious about this. And it's not even like they have a bad cast. Like, there's some faces on there I recognize where it's like, okay, that's fine. But the thing that's jarring is that not a single one of them stands out as clear cut. Okay, this is going to be who the story is centered around. That, and there's no guarantee, you know, we are literally just talking about Tekken and like corpos being tone deaf as to what their audience wants. There is no guarantee that these guys are going to read the room and thinking that the first thing that they absolutely need to do for a live action AC show as a bare minimum is have a male lead protagonist. The second bare minimum being that he's not a useless fuck that just gets outshined by everybody around him.
Don't do what Devil May Cry is and make it about a completely different character.
Yes, because that's what they always do every single time. They'll have the male characters in there, and it's like, yeah, we have male characters, so what are you complaining about? And then you actually like observe the male characters, like this guy's totally useless. He offers nothing to the story. And he's basically like only as effective or ineffective as every other character around him allows him to be. This is why Superman was bad. You gotta make a story that starts off with like, oh, Superman lost his first fight ever, and that's his conflict, which is like on his face. It's like, okay, that could be interesting to like play around with that notion. But then the entirety of the movie, he just continues losing every single fight. Unless somebody else is there to help him. Like by the time he loses the fifth fight, it's like, wait, this isn't even special anymore. He just sucks.
Okay, really that strong? I mean, if you should keep seeing Superman lose, it's just a matter of not a.
It's not even that he's always losing. It's the combination of him losing all the time and then having to rely on somebody else to help him win. It's the double negative. And this is a beloved character, an iconic character. And that's before you get into the whole stuff where like they completely character assassinated Jor-El, which was like basically like it was the most egregious thing in that movie was the character assassinating Jor-El. Oh shit, this is a new mechanic. Okay, I'm gonna back up and like not lose my train of thought. They completely character assassinated Jor-El by changing his fucking backstory that he wanted to send his ultimate message that he sends to Clark or Kal-El as like a going away message was that and I don't know if you heard about this, but like I guess it's a spoiler or whatever. You don't really care, I'm assuming. They changed the nature of his mission to be sent to Earth instead of being like something like normal, like help them find their way, be the best of them, but like embrace who they are, like just give them something to aspire to and let them fumble behind you, but let them find their own way and be the hero that they need. To we want you to go there and basically be a Viltrumite. You're going to impregnate as many concubines as you can and basically recreate our species there by fucking like having your way with all their women. This is a real storyline in the new movie, by the way. I'm not making this up.
Oh.
And that's why, like, ever since the movie came out, you see a bunch of fucking Bradley Cooper memes where he looks like a pimp.
Oh, so you're telling me the new movie is they just saw... Basically, the idea is just, what if
Superman was invincible?
it was a yeah, basically. Okay.
This was James Gunn's big fucking, like, heavy-hitting idea. Because he's awful at what he fucking does. And the thing that was, like, the major red flag with him was that for the longest time, for years, I want to say, This guy was on the record saying that he never wanted to do a Superman movie because he didn't know how to tell a story. Honestly, him saying that is actually really cool. And being like, somebody being honest like that is, again, it's something refreshing. You need to like embrace people when they tell you something that they can't do. This is not a reason to dunk on them. It's something to acknowledge that they're being honest about it and respect it. What happened though was that was his stance initially, and then he found out about crypto, and he was like, once I learned about crypto, I immediately changed my mind. Now I know how to tell a Superman story. And that was red flag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The dog was what you needed to know how to tell a Superman story.
Yeah, man.
Man, it's fucking brutal. It's like, it's the most brutal thing in the world when it's like you already have a foundation laid before you to like reference to like tell a cool story. You have lore to work off of, and every single time these corpos just buy the IP, they buy the licensing because they want that familiarity. They want people to see it from the outside and be like, yeah, this is the live action version, and it's going to be that thing that you supported this whole time. Only we're only going to have it be what that is on its surface level, and we're going to change the story to tell a story that we want to tell instead, and completely have it be something that it's not what you grew up with at all. And then they always have that stupid fucking Pikachu surprise face when the shit flops and nobody likes it. And then they gaslight like the audience is the problem.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
It's like, bro, we are in 2026. This actually kind of pains me to say this. We're in the year 2026. There are like 7 Resident Evil movies and a Netflix Resident Evil show. And we still, to this day, have not had a single Resident Evil live action offering that actually sticks to the lore. Is lore accurate? Not a single one.
See, it's because they were like, oh, it's because they got away with it before. And that's the problem. Is that they think because they got away with it before, they're like, oh, we're the exception.
But I don't even know, like, what would you reference in saying that they got away with it?
Like, their Resident Evil movie was good.
The first one was the only one that was kind of passable. The second one was entertaining, but they were already breaking from the lore in the second one. And then by the time it was 3, it was basically its own unique story with with like LARPing as something else. It was never supposed to be, even from the onset, it was never supposed to be this thing where like you have a super soldier character that can do everything. And essentially it trivializes the entire fucking situation by default, because you have this one character that could basically manage to deal with every single thing the story has to throw at it by default.
Wrong.
Like when we played the games, like Nemesis was terrifying. Not because he was big, he was fast, all of that matters. He was big, he was fast. That is scary unto itself. He was terrifying because while he was big, while he was fast, while he had a rocket launcher, you were on your side as a regular human being with a fucking revolver. And even the new ones seem to kind of be losing the plot on that a little bit, because now Leon is like the equivalent of a super soldier.
What did they do with Leon to make him a super soldier? What?
It's essentially like he's basically like John Wick now, where like his half of the new game is basically an action game all the way through, You never feel scared or intimidated by anything when you're playing as him because he's like perfectly equipped to deal with whatever it is you throw at him. Whereas when you play as Grace, she's equipped to do nothing but survive. So all the Grace parts actually are like the scary parts of the game that feel like the old school franchise. Because you're just playing as like a helpless, like anxiety driven like female who's not built to like defend herself the same way like, you know, fucking Raccoon City super soldier Leon Kennedy is. Who apparently like spent his fucking in between games of his story training with fucking Keanu Reeves on his spare time. And it's like, if it's fun, it's fun. Like, that's not what I'm like critiquing or anything like that. It's just that basic premise is what I'm critiquing. That a scary story or a scary game essentially is only as scary as the people who are on the receiving end of it. This is why it, like, part ones, both of them, like the original and the new one, the It stories where Pennywise is preying on children, this is why they work. Because they are children. They can't defend themselves the way adults can. So it's like, if he catches you and you can't outrun him, like, that's it. Your story is over. And again, another little upside to them being children is that at all times when you see like the scale of the characters, difference in scales of the characters, Pennywise always towers over them because they are children and he's enormous. There's a dynamic there that naturally plays regardless of whatever he does. It's also like, if you want to remove the horror genre and go like into something else, that's also the basic premise at its foundational level. Why the conflict, the duel between the trial by combat between the Mountain and Oberyn was so tense, like both in the books and in the show, is because of the size disparity there. The Mountain, by the time he has that duel, has already been established and built up to be this unstoppable figure of like genuine size and strength and power that you cannot make a single mistake against him. The minute you make one mistake, you're dead. And in comes Oberyn, who's like the only guy that was like oddly perfectly equipped to manage to still be able to keep up with him. For the most part, not make mistakes. In the books, he was able to do it by bouncing the sunlight off of his shield to use the glare of the sunlight and beam it into like the Mountain's eyes through the visor in his helmet so that he couldn't see. He blinded him before he stabbed him with the poison-tipped spear. In the show, he actually just straight up beat him head on, just like basically like dodging and moving around and like basically abusing his speed and technique more than anything. And it wasn't until he went for like the extra with the gloating and shit that he got fucked up. But the size difference of like a towering, unstoppable figure versus the opposite, it always lends natural tension to a dynamic of a story. And it's like when you have a super soldier kind of figure, you're never going to be scared watching fucking Steve Rogers in his prime in a fucking horror movie. What the hell's going to happen to him? Nothing. Same thing with Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is tense and scary because you're going around fucking trying to repair generators and shit rather than having the tools to defend yourself from the monsters. Same thing.
Yeah, but I think the reason why it worked is not because it was a good action movie and less of a good horror movie, right? That's
Which one?
what I was. The Resident Evil.
The Resident Evil 1?
Yeah.
I mean, for its time, it was a decent action movie.
It's just that it inherently isn't Resident Evil because of the fact that they
They turned it into an action movie, yeah. And then it turned into an action franchise.
Well, to be fair, and I think at the time that is like what was popular, like just like kind of putting out like almost kind of want to call it this, but you know what, I'm gonna fucking call it anyways. Like they just like putting out action slop. That was like the 2000s.
Yeah.
They really like just putting out like making like random ass action movies and seeing what stuck.
Yeah. We had a lot of bangers and a lot of duds.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. And it was just like, that's what studios were going. They don't do that nowadays. Now that I think about it, it's like
they can't afford to.
Yeah,
straight up, they can't afford to. Like, cost of living everywhere is too high. People's incomes are too low. The price of everything in general is way up. And as a result, by default now, subscription services popping off the way that they did, people are staying home. Like, nobody's going to theaters at the same rate that they used to go to before. You need those, those occasional, like, special movies to come around that force people. They're like, yeah, I don't want to wait for this. I actually want to go to the theaters to see this. They're usually like spectacle films, but those movies tend to cost an arm and a leg and then some. You need generational wealth to make those movies actually happen in the first place, and then you got to hope to God that people actually show up so that they break even and then profit afterwards. That doesn't happen like that anymore. That's why we have so many flops, like aplenty, in the past 6 years. Not even just with the MCU, but just in general. And that was where, like, the secret sauce that they kind of decided not to go into was the streaming services. That 1 year during COVID where everything was going to HBO Max instead of the movie theaters. Like, that's like, we were living it up during that 1 year, but the problem was they were cutting out the middleman, which is the movie theaters. Like, movie theaters were going to go under if they kept going that route, and like the powers that be didn't want to do that. So they said, fuck this, we're pulling everything off of subscription services, we're going back to the movie theater model, and that really hasn't panned out as a decision at all, and here we are.
I was gonna say, I don't think that, I mean, the problem is movie theaters are just like, movie theaters were nice because, like, at the time, right, you had to buy everything on DVD, which, like, how much would fucking DVD cost? Like, what, $30?
That's all back to the time. It was $20 when they first were a thing. It was $20 for a DVD, which also at that same time, that was 2 tickets to the movies. That was back when it was $10 for an adult ticket.
And that's what I mean. It's like you could just pay the same price to go to the movies.
Yeah.
Which is,
but now it's like, I think now it's safe to say there's probably like $30 plus for like 2 tickets to go to a movie now. Maybe depending on where you go, it might be higher depending on what kind of theater you're going to. And the other problem you have now with movie theaters is not just that like they priced out a lot of people by going so high, but then there's the realistic side of it that has nothing to do with money, right? Like, you're paying money to be in a large auditorium with a bunch of other strangers in the dark that there's no guarantee that they're going to know how to act and be civil. They might be loud. They might be throwing their popcorn all over the place. They might be like just leaving their garbage all over the place. Some of them might be on their phones. Like, all of these things could happen. You're paying extra money, top dollar, for all of these possibilities to be a thing, when instead you could just sit on your couch, pay a comparable price, if not less, get the same exact movie, maybe not the same viewing experience, depending on what kind of TV you're watching, but you have none of that fucking bullshit around you where you have a bunch of people who don't know how to act. You're just watching something peacefully in your own home. And 9 times out of 10, people are going to prefer the latter over the former.
I was gonna say also, like, I hate to sound, like, this is making me sound like an old man, but you know, fuck it. This younger generation does not know how to act.
Yes, correct.
Like, I think kids these days are like actually not parented well anymore, and they're just like, you know.
That's why the term iPad. That's why the term iPad babies became a thing.
Yeah. and they're just loud and obnoxious, and like their parents cannot keep them under control. And then when you want to go to see a movie, problem is that like you risk now going and running into like
Bunch of YNs.
not even that. I was gonna say like it's not just like one group of people. I think white kids are just as bad too. So I really think it's like you just risk ending up like at a movie and not able to focus on the movie because of some other shit going on in the background. Whereas you watch a movie at home, it's safe.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly what experience I get at home.
And you can pause the movie at home if you have to use the bathroom. That's the other big one.
Yep, you can pause the movie. You can like if need be, you could stop it. Like if there's an emergency, you can go.
Yep.
It's no commitment, no time. It's just
You have
really
way
simple.
more control over everything watching something like that at home than you do in a movie theater, while paying less.
Now I'll say there is a good I will say there is like a good reason. Like there is a good experience about I'll say like about like watching like a movie somewhere like at a movie theater, right? Like watching like for example, if they make another good Star Wars movie, funny, that probably won't happen, but if they do, I would love to watch it in theaters because
for the
that would
environment?
be because the environment.
It's so rare now. Like I do think that's a fair thing to point out for sure. Like I hate to say it, but the last time that was common was basically like the back-to-back fucking releases between Endgame and Infinity War. That was like the last time that the movie culture was what it was. And then they had a brief time that it flared back up, very brief for the Minecraft movie, but it wasn't a thing that just like kept happening.
Well, I was gonna say I think COVID was part of that too, because like right after after Infinity War, it was like a year or two after. It's like boom, we're in the peak of COVID,
Yeah.
and yeah,
But the bigger problem is that the movies everywhere started sucking. All of this is nothing. All of this is subjective. If the movies are good, people just keep showing up when it's safe to go back. People started staying home because the movies across the board were sucking.
honestly, that's why people watch TV shows now. I feel like it more common than in the past, where you're like, well, people don't really watch. You can actually say like some people just don't watch movies nowadays. Where I feel like that didn't really happen in the past. It's like you'd always watch some movies, you'd always watch some TV shows, and it was really just whatever. Like kind of figure like what your general thing was. Like my grandma used to watch this fucking TV show, fucking Charmed.
I remember that.
Yeah. But she also, like, as I told you in the past, she also is a big action movie buff because she thought the men were hot. So
There's a beautiful simplicity to saying something like that that's completely missing right now.
I don't think I don't think she ever admitted to that herself, but my mom said that, like, told me that's the reason.
Yeah, and it's totally fair. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And like it's bullshit that we've normalized this whole fucking culture of like seeing that kind of stuff as a bad thing. You know, unless it's Leon Kennedy, then all of a sudden like it's rules for thee, not for me. Then it's okay.
It's because it's just somehow for some reason become okay to sexualize men, but not okay to sexualize women. It's like what I feel like this is the thing you hate the most. It's a double standard. I mean, it's just like
With everything, yeah. That is my biggest
Yeah.
pet peeve, double standards.
Learn some decorum.
What kind of outfit would I need to get inside there?
oh, that's interesting.
Whose house is this? Homestead. Head to St. Halsius.
That's kind of cool to play in PvP.
I don't have a Halsius outfit.
Oh, can I dash the enemy? I can. That's kind of cool. I feel like taking a heal on the healer is actually bad. I hate saying that. This is actually the way it feels.
Oh,
Are you trying to get us caught? Hush.
another one of these guys that has this shit. Only
Feels
I
much better than the
still
Mancer
don't
ones.
have enough. Fuck.
This ability is so risky. It is like, I feel like you just don't use it unless somebody comes in on you. Playing a range class and having to go into melee range to fucking be able to use a skill? Fuck no.
Shh. Scurry off now. Keep it down and do as I say. Forget anything you saw here.
We are winning so hard. Oh, shit, we're not winning that hard.
Keep it down and do as I say.
I misread that. I thought that said 800. That says 900. I think we just play it like really safe here, and I think we win. They're gonna have to come after us. We just killed them and then we win.
I'll do you a rare favor, so don't waste it. Got all the silver? No idle chat. Don't give me a reason to follow you.
Oh, we're almost all the way there, Ted.
Hmm.
We now have a hood and a cloak. I simply need the unique. Yep, I have. Okay, starter pants. I need sweatpants. I need the unique color. And a face mask.
A unique color, it says. Huh. Don't think there's anything unique about that color. Why is blue here? Blue is literally just... You know what? Fuck it.
Who are you?
Goddamn apes.
Show your pass.
Pass? What pass?
Not twice about to say that. Fuck it. No. Let that shit.
Need a
Fuck
pass
it.
to
It's
enter.
fucked up.
No exceptions.
Goddamn retards.
Just let me in, will you?
Someone's looking for trouble here.
You're a stubborn one.
This is not your place. If you want to go in, you need a pass.
What are you trying to do?
I'll find you. Kick you out myself. Our guards are all over the place.
What fucking ability is this? Psych. It's just a giant laser. Okay. Like this. Just a random ass damage spell. Sure. Here, I'm gonna go bathroom.
Okay, so that didn't work.
Hey, you there? Come here. You want to get inside, don't you? You seem reasonable. How about we make a deal? There is a quick and simple way to get in. Well, show me a bit of goodwill, and maybe I'll tell you. Think it over. What's the matter? No coin.
Are you trying to get us caught? Hush! Keep it down and do as I say. Yeah, take care and keep quiet.
And remember back when Game of Thrones was good, and they didn't have that stupid fucking ending? God. Game of Thrones used to be great.
And they're in the first 5 seasons.
Yep. And then I felt like they felt like they had to make someone the villain, and then they just said, you know what? We'll do it to Daenerys. So it's like, what the fuck?
Mum! What are these clothes and who are these people?
They're from St. Halcyus' House of Healing. Just 10 nights there and you'll be home with Mum again.
Right, that's enough. Let's be off.
My boy.
Mum! Hiya!
A wagon's just wooden planks once you take it apart. Who'll know if we sell them on the sly?
Yeah.
Oh, my arms. Oh, that's just the person I needed. I picked up a brand new grindstone to put an edge back on my blunt tools. Problem is, the blasted thing won't work. I can't tell if it's just stiff from being new or if it's a dud. Here, would you give it a try? See if you can get it working for me. I've got an eye for spotting capable folk. I knew you'd manage it. I wouldn't have asked you otherwise. Now I can finally put this thing to proper use. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hello, traveller. Enjoying the day? Enjoying the day? Interested in anything else?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll kill you, you fuck! Come on then.
Okay, I gotta remember I'm playing healer. I gotta heal people.
Determined, aren't you?
You let me try to run. Big mistake.
You grave worshipping savages!
Die!
Hope my selection suits your needs. I'm guessing you're happiest with a fishing rod in hand. It's yours. Every legendary catch starts. Drop by whenever you're in need of new gear.
Hiya. Yeah. I never start a fight I can't finish. You're the one getting hurt today. Yeah. One rule. Don't be boring when I kill you. Strike at the neck.
I
beg you.
Thank you. I barely managed to escape from the camp, but there are still people left behind. I know it's shameless to ask, but please, help them.
Vater!
How we debase ourselves in squabble and shit. Back to the shithole you crawled from, you cowards!
My gratitude.
Oh. My horse ran off on me. Could you take me home?
God, can you not ask me right now? Thank you.
I just realized someone guy tried to shit talk me the other day. Fuck. Called. Tried to fucking type at me again. But I have it blocked, so you can't do shit. This tells you someone messaged from blacklisted character. I did the Hots thing where you talk shit and you immediately block their ass.
To be fair, that's not unique to Hots, but yeah, I get what you mean.
It's what I used to do with Hots. But to be fair, he reached out to me to talk shit too. So like, I don't like.
I've been working the poor beast too hard lately. I $7 and I lost the reins. Honestly, I'd have bolted from an owner like me too. Let's get down there first. Please, take this humble gift.
Run! Yeah!
Still breathing? Fix them.
Diablo 4's next expansion is trying to solve one of the game's biggest long-term problems. Nvidia just triggered a massive backlash with its new AI rendering tech, and in one of the wildest stories of the week, The Krafton vs. Subnautica lawsuit may have actually been blown open by ChatGPT logs. You can't make this up. Hey folks, this is Riker, and I dig into ARPG and gaming news so that you can spend more time playing games. Timestamps below to skip ahead to different topics. Starting off with Diablo 4 news, we got some more details on the upcoming endgame content in Lord of Hatred via an interview with German outlet buffed.de and game director Zaban Haratuni. As translated by Redditor Cultural Ninja 6, Zaban explained how D4's endgame activities, Nightmare Dungeons, Helltides, Whispers, the Pit, and the Undercity, currently have no grander structure to them. And it felt as though casual players would just pick one of these activities and run them until they died, and then move on to trying something else. So one of the goals of the new war plans in Lord of Hatred is to give structure to the endgame. You'll be served up a board of 5 activities to complete in sequence. That's the war plan, and each of these activities gets a random reward attached to it on top of whatever the activity's regular reward is. It seems like players will be able to exert some agency in choosing which activities get served to them, and this all contributes toward war plan skill trees that let you further customize your endgame experience. For example, you can customize the Helltide skill tree to make you lose all cinders when you die instead of just half of your cinders, but you accumulate cinders much more quickly, so it's a risk versus reward mechanic. Or you can get Butchers to ambush you instead of Hellborn, or you can have Duriel spawn instead of the Blood Maiden. And the Pit apparently is undergoing a big overhaul so that it can be greatly customized with the skill tree, so that's exciting. Looking forward to what's going to be happening there. I think that now that we have the tower as a leaderboard activity, we can go crazy with the Pit. Then in an interview with PC Gamer, Zaban admitted that it's really hard for players to keep up with all the changes Diablo 4 has been undergoing, especially players who don't keep up with every season. He also said the team is always trying to decide how much change should happen at once, and whether it's worth risking players being overwhelmed by the amount of changes to the point that they don't return. He said, however, quote, "I said this before, I believe in it. If a part of the game isn't working, we have to give it some attention. I don't think anyone's too thrilled about having an obsolete part of the game just sort of linger and not do its job and not contribute." He also expressed that he believes it's normal for ARPGs to go through transitions as new friction points become evident after thousands of hours of play. And while I do agree, I think it's a bit reductive to suggest that the degree of changes D4 has undergone is comparable to other ARPGs. I believe the number of fundamental, foundational changes that D4 has undergone since launch, which has massively shifted how the game functions and plays, is above the norm. I'm not saying it's unwarranted, but as someone who makes guides for new players, it feels like my guides age very quickly. With Path of Exile, for instance, if you skip a few seasons, the amount of new stuff to learn can be absolutely overwhelming. But the knowledge you already have about the game remains largely still applicable. So I can tell new players there, stick with what you know, forget about trying to learn all that new stuff at once, just learn it slowly, bit by bit. But with a returning Diablo 4 player, it's like, yeah, nothing is the same anymore. Pretty much all your knowledge is useless now. And again, I'm not saying it's unwarranted. The game has absolutely been getting better with all these overhauls. But I look forward to a time when we don't have to do so many overhauls of such a large scope so often, and we're primarily just adding things to the game. Because it'll be an increasing point of friction for returning players if, on top of having to learn all the new stuff, they also have to relearn all the basic stuff over again. Obviously, the solution here isn't stop reworking things. There is no solution here. We're not gonna say, hey, stop making the game better. I'm just saying it's unfortunate that we're in this position, that the current direction of D4 is so dramatically different from its direction at launch that we've needed all of these overhauls. So fingers crossed, Lord of Hatred is going to be the last big one for a while. Then we got this week the release of a new webcomic, also rendered as a motion comic, voiced by the male Warlock. It's a nice little lore drop and intro to the Warlock and his place in this world. We get the tease of the history of the Warlock, rooted in the old mage clans, the Jeri, when they were first experimenting with summoning demons, before they were hunted by the assassins, the Vijaktar. And we see why Warlocks have not appeared before in a Diablo game. They are shunned by society, demonized. Demonized. Much more so than necromancers, much more so than any other class. And I also really like that it conveys the dark fantasy tone of the world through the reactions of the NPCs. These are people who have fears and superstitions grounded in actual world events. They're not just like, oh, a spellcaster, hey, how you doing, lol. You know, terrible monsters exist in this world, and the people of this world are wary of the monsters. Now, going back to Season 12 of Diablo 4, which, as we established last week, is not as strong as Season 11 or Season 10, but serves as a nice intermediary short season before Lord of Hatred's drop. That said, it is much rougher around the edges than any season we've had in quite a while. Apart from the complaints that I'm not going to rehash from last week, a recurring complaint I see this season is Obdicite being scarce. We did touch upon it slightly, but it just seems every season there's some resource that is bottlenecking people, and this time around it's Obdicite. I'm generally not one who will argue for making the game easier. I did find myself surprisingly low on Obdicite as I was trying to make my way to Torment 4. I really had to go out of my way to specifically farm for masterworking materials. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I definitely noticed it, and it was whiplash relative to last season. It just suddenly felt like, oh, I guess masterworking isn't something I'm going to take for granted now. I'm not opposed to it being more of an investment to masterwork your gear. Once I realized what the proper source of farming Obdicite was, I was fine with it. Didn't take me too long to get all the Obdicite that I needed. But I think the issue is that the best ways to get Obdicite are so much more rewarding than the rest. You know, we used to be able to get Obdicite from Infernal Hordes, as well as Nightmare Dungeons. Now it's really just Horadric Strong Rooms with treasure breaches, if you're lucky enough to get one, being the lucky haul that makes pretty much anything else worthless. Like, you get so little Obdicite from Infernal Hordes and regular Nightmare Dungeons that it may as well not even be a source of Obdicite at all. Like, a new player who looks at where to get Obdicite will see, oh, Infernal Hordes, I can go there. They're going to do Infernal Hordes, and then they're going to wonder why they can never masterwork anything. Now, there are tricks to getting as much Obdicite as possible, and that does involve party play. If you are playing with others, then you share your treasure breach sigils and your Horadric Strong Room sigils, because all it takes is one sigil to open it for 4 people. So you're, as a party, getting 4 times more than you'd be getting by yourself. And if you work in escalation sigils as well, which are frequently going to drop at the end of them more sigils, you can get into this loop of effectively endlessly farming Obdicite because you're just never running out of sigils if you're in a 4-man party. Now, unfortunately, this is counter to how a lot of people want to play the game, i.e. solo. Now, we got news this week of a patch hitting on the 24th that will bring some welcome changes to the game. We're getting a blacksmith added by the Bloodied Item Gambler in Giacol, so no more having to go back and forth to salvage. They also fixed the Paladin's Arbiter Wings. A bug was preventing that super cool effect from showing, which, let's face it, half the reason you play Arbiter is to look like Tyrael. There's another fix where Bloody Nightmare Dungeons apparently didn't have the same chances to drop Obdicite as normal Nightmare Dungeons, so I don't know if this is going to actually fix the whole Obdicite paucity from non-Strong Room or non-Treasure Breach Nightmare Dungeons. I guess we'll find out. Another positive fix, when you turn into the Butcher in the PvP zone, you will now have a lot more health. Currently, right, any T4 build one-shots the Butcher player, so hopefully that's not going to happen anymore and people can actually do those PvP objectives. Then they also seem to be fixing the issue of blood-soaked sigils. As we said last week, for those who don't know, once you complete a Pit 100 on your character, whether you crush that Pit 100 or whether you struggle bust your way through with 1 second left, all bloodied sigils that will drop for you from here on until eternity are going to be blood-soaked sigils equivalent to Pit Tier 100 in difficulty. So you cannot get any more of those like T5 equivalent bloodied sigils. It's all going to be Pit Tier 100, which is incredibly difficult. And for most people, even if you can complete them, they're just not worth running from a reward versus time perspective. So for a lot of people, now that they can only get these Pit Tier 100 sigils to drop, their character is effectively bricked, and so they have to make an alt character just to farm up bloodied sigils to run on their main. Now, I thought a good solution would have been to find some system where you allow both tiers of bloodied sigils to drop, bloodied and blood-soaked. This way, people who want that masochistic challenge can go for it, but maybe not wanting to do that all the time, and they can still run normal bloodied sigils, you know, just day to day. But it seems the solution they're going for here is just nerfing the difficulty of the top tier bloodied sigils and nerfing it significantly, to use their word, and that's in response to player feedback that they could not reasonably complete these sigils. And this, in my opinion, is a clear sign that the whole Torment 12 thing will not be successful. Blood-soaked sigils lasted a week before they were nerfed due to player demand. There is nothing in this game that is allowed to remain as aspirational content. Everything must be conquerable within days. But I hope I'm right. Oh, and a quick Diablo 3 note. Season 38 begins on March 27th. This is a rerun of the season of Ethereal items. I love the implementation of Ethereals in D3. Such a good season. If you like Sanctification in D4, this has some of those vibes. In other news, a major story this week, NVIDIA being totally and completely tone-deaf as it revealed DLSS 5, a new AI-powered technology that adds real-time neural rendering in games to create photorealistic lighting and materials. And the moment I saw this announcement, and I saw the clip of what it did, I knew that the internet was going to hate this. Gamers are very anti-AI slop, and I cannot believe that throughout the entire process of preparing for this presentation, no one at NVIDIA spoke up to say that this would not go over well. There's a few different things going on that are leading to this being the perfect disaster for NVIDIA. First off, a lot of people just don't understand the technology, and it was not presented in a way that clarified things. The average person knows about ChatGPT and AI image generators and AI video generator. So when they see a video showing a video game character's face getting a realistic makeover, a lot of people just thought this was like an AI face detection filter, just like, you know, people see on the internet all the time. Just that it's running in real time in-game. And that's not what the technology does. It doesn't just do that, at least. But that's what their presentation made it look like it does. Secondly, people want art from artists. They value the creative direction and vision as it was intended, not how AI reimagines it. When a human being makes a choice, we want to know, why did it make that choice? What is it about that artist's soul that they're drawing upon, their lived experiences? Why was something done a certain way? And there's just no sense of wonder or curiosity for when an AI makes a decision. It's irrelevant. There is no deeper meaning behind it. And the examples given in the NVIDIA presentation, they changed the final result of the face, of the art, in a way that felt very different from the artistic vision. And while NVIDIA said that they actually had multiple companies on board and sign off on using this technology, like many game dev companies, as per Insider Gaming, the artists at those companies have spoken out to say that they were blindsided by this reveal. So sure, maybe some executives at the company signed off on it, but not the people that actually made the art. Third, it just doesn't look very good. Sometimes it's okay, but oftentimes the lighting just feels too perfect and like a commercial photo shoot. So it loses a lot of the mood lighting of the scene, and again, it's just sort of like this perfect portrait lighting. And then even the examples they gave of scenery, because again, this isn't just a face filter. The underlying tech here is much more advanced than just a face filter. It's redoing the lighting in the entire scene. But even then, I, in almost every case, preferred the lighting with DLSS 5 off. The lighting just became more uniform and boring. I don't want things to look real. I want them to look good, dramatic, cinematic, aesthetic. This technology is meant to come to us this fall, and if these are the best examples they had to show us, it's not looking great. Now, after the initial backlash, the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, just made things worse by saying during a Q&A at the company's annual conference, quote, "Well, first of all, the critics are completely wrong. The reason for that is, as I've explained very carefully, DLSS 5 fuses controllability of the geometry and textures and everything about the game with generative AI. It's not post-processing. It's not post-processing at the frame level. It's generative control at the geometry level. All of that is in the control, direct control of the game developer. This is very different from generative AI. It's content control generative AI. That's why we call it neural rendering. I'm sorry, Huang, but us laymen don't understand what that means. And this is the kind of stuff the presentation really needed to focus on, making the layman understand how this differs from the face filters used in TikTok videos. He went on to stress that developers are able to use this tool and fine-tune it to fit their creative vision. In other words, that it's not something just slapped onto a game externally. It's intended to be part of the development process. Artists can create their assets with the knowledge that DLSS 5 will be used, and they can tweak how the DLSS 5 works in their game to apply different looks. Like he gave us an example that you can use it to make a toon shader, or to make everything in your game look like it was made out of glass. These are the things that should have been shown in the presentation. Instead, they showed NPCs from games that we play with their faces swapped with uncanny photorealistic versions. I think a tech demo of an original creation, like they've done in the past, showing the whole pipeline, showing how a character is made in a certain art style, and then the DLSS 5 is designed to work with that specific art style, maybe literally showing an artist at work as part of this pipeline, right? Not being replaced. You know, the artist is working with the tech, and it all comes together to create one cohesive artistic vision. I think that would have been a better way of selling this to the public. There would still be haters because a lot of gamers are just anti-AI, but if the results actually looked good, there would be far fewer complaints. But instead, here we are with hyper-realistic photo shoot lighting faces on top of stiff, unnatural video game animations, resulting in this weird sense of uncanny valley that somehow makes the result feel less real when in motion. It's a shame. I really like NVIDIA. They've made tremendous breakthroughs in technology over the years. AI upscaling really helps performance. Ray tracing was phenomenal. I followed and loved the technological breakthroughs in video game graphics for decades. I love technology. And I don't think I've ever seen an NVIDIA presentation be received so poorly, ever. Again, I just can't believe NVIDIA is so out of touch with the gaming industry. GDC, the Game Developers Conference, they published a survey, and 52% of respondents said they think generative AI is bad for the games industry, with only 7% saying it's a good thing. But how do you folks feel? Sound off in the comments. And some No Rest for the Wicked news, we got an update this week that adds dueling to the game. It adds a chat system and a comfort system for your home. Adding higher quality housing items will give you higher levels of comfort, which will improve the rested bonuses you get for sleeping in your home. There's also a significant balance patch, lots of stuff nerfed, but probably what was hit the hardest was bows. All bows now have damage drop-off, dealing full damage up to a certain range, and then dropping off the further the arrow goes from that range. I was a bow user, and I knew bows would be nerfed. I haven't had a chance to check out this patch yet, but I see people generally...
This year.
What about $400?
But Mom said her mortgage went up $400 a month this year.
Oh, that's rough.
Yep. But with my stepfather working, they can at least afford it now. So.
killer here. I'll kill all you savages! Slaughter all you beaten cows! Northern scum! Hurry up! Let's do this!
Oh crap. Oh, really?
My gratitude. Thanks.
Thank you. You've done me a great service. Please, hear me out.
Please, this isn't right.
I owe you a great debt.
Why do this to my poor soul?
Please, this isn't right.
Anger is not a solution.
I can't thank you enough, friend.
I'll kill you, you fuck!
Please, hear me out.
weak spots in your defense.
Slaughter all you beaten curs! Gotta do better than that, friend!
Dun, 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 dun. Playing healer is very calming. And then I forgot to press my button to make sure people get healed, and then I was like, yeah.
You're done for.
What is happening on my fucking shit?
Save you from me. Die, you bastards! Still breathing? I'll fix that.
Okay.
To glory!
Thanks.
Don't end my days here.
What is it you want from me?
I beg you.
Family awaits me at home.
Please, don't end my days here.
Look inwards. Consider where you went wrong.
I can go home thanks to you.
My family awaits me at home.
I owe you a great debt.
Please, don't end my days here.
I can't thank you enough, friend.
I'll slaughter all you beaten curs!
Another series for me and Richie. Dude, this boss has a hard on for me. What the fuck? Maybe.
Northern Scum.
Agreeing that bows needed to be nerfed, but that maybe this wasn't the right way to nerf them. See, there's multiple types of bows in the game, some of which are considered to be close-range bows, which are also the most powerful ones. But all bows seem to have been nerfed across the board at the same rate with the damage drop-off. So that just kind of makes the short-range bows the least harmed by this. And they were already the best bows, so now they're just even more the best bows. Also, the bow max damage range is reportedly really short. But that's just what I heard. What have you folks experienced? All I know is that balancing bows is super difficult. It's difficult to have a satisfying bow gameplay without it being overpowered and easy to abuse. So yeah, like, you know, it's in the game. I'm going to stand at the edge of the screen and spam my arrows while laughing as nothing touches me. I'm going to do it if the game lets me do it. So I'm wondering, maybe the real solution here isn't to nerf the damage, but maybe make the playstyle a bit more than just stay at edge of screen and spam. What if your quiver could hold 20 arrows? If an arrow misses a target, you get it back immediately, but if an arrow hits an enemy, it stays in that enemy until you go and pick it up. So I stay at the edge of my screen, I spam my 20 arrows, then I need to actually jump into the battlefield and get all my arrows back. You know, don't make it a button I gotta push, just I walk over a corpse with an arrow in it, I get the arrow back. I get into melee with the boss who has 10 of my arrows in him, I get my 10 arrows back. Then if I want, I could retreat, right, go back to range, but at least it's forcing me to have to engage, to not just cheese every fight at the edge of the screen. Then you can even have itemization affect quiver size. Maybe you want fewer but more powerful arrows, or maybe you want to have as many arrows as possible. But I don't know, how do you folks feel about that? Then on some quick last Epoch news, Season 4 launches next Thursday, March 26th. The main seasonal feature consists of Omen Windows, a new horde-based mechanic where you kill enemies while staying within a circle until you summon a boss to defeat. These will lead into getting Echo Chains, which are sequences of echoes to run that share a common mechanical theme and end with a final challenge. Corruption is a new mechanic this season. It lets you gambit slam your items, unpredictably modifying an item and potentially making it worse, while you finger cross, you know, that it's going to become a lot better. And then it prevents you from doing any further modifications to the item. So if you folks like Sanctification in Diablo 4, then this is exactly that. One of my favorite new features is Idol Altars. These let you change the shape of your idol grid. There's going to be 13 new idol grid layouts. The ramifications are going to be huge for determining what idols are now best for what build. There's a new Pinnacle boss fight that's going to be somewhere in difficulty between Aberoth and Uber Aberoth. The rogue gets 2 new skills. First, Bladestorm is being elevated into a full skill of its own, and then Shadow Rend is a totally new skill that creates a shadow of yourself that mimics your attack. This season also brings 9 new unique items, 15 new set items, and buffs to many underperforming uniques. There's also a ton of quality of life changes, and even improvements to animations of both players and monsters. The visual evolution of this game over the years has been tremendous, and they are not stopping. Are you folks planning to hop into Season 4 on March 26th? Sound off in the comments if you want to see more Last Epoch content from me. Now, speaking of Last Epoch, we have an update and possibly a resolution to the whole Krafton versus Unknown Worlds founders legal battle. If you'll remember, Krafton bought Unknown Worlds, creators of Subnautica. Apart from spending a stupid amount of money on the company, they also promised an additional $250 million if they reached certain sales goals by a certain date with the launch of Subnautica 2. Krafton then wanted to delay the launch of Subnautica 2, claiming it wasn't ready, and the delay would have made it impossible for the sales goal to be reached. The co-founders refused to delay, so Krafton found reasons to fire them, largely citing incompetence, failure to do their jobs, and just generally phoning it in. The main thesis was that the co-founders were harming Subnautica 2, and so to save Subnautica 2, they had to have been removed, because otherwise those dastardly co-founders would have launched the game as soon as possible just to be done with it and cash in their checks. Well, the founders took Krafton to court, claiming that Krafton just fired them to avoid paying out the $250 million bonus, and now a court judge has ruled in favor of the co-founders, with an actual ChatGPT log turned up in Discovery that shows that yes, the CEO of Krafton literally asked ChatGPT how to get out of paying the $250 million bonus, and ChatGPT effectively orchestrated an entire plan to oust the founders and take over the company and delay the launch. I mean, Krafton is an AI-first company after all. So the judge has ruled that the former CEO must be reinstated, and he's even extending the deadline for reaching the sales milestone to give the founders a chance to earn that $250 million, basically resetting this entire silly situation to where we were a year ago, except with a ton more animosity between all parties and a dev team that has likely suffered from bad morale for months now. Now, the story doesn't even end there. The CEO that Krafton had instated to replace the founders, their yes man that would be pliable, well, since he's losing his job, on his way out, he just casually let slip that Subnautica 2 would go into early access in May. And now the lawyers of the original founders are saying that he basically sabotaged their early access launch by not allowing them to announce the launch on their own terms, doing their whole marketing push behind it. Right? Just casually leaking it is not how you want to do this. I'm just really glad that this did not settle out of court and that we, the public, got a resolution to this story. Then in some quick news, Crimson Desert has released the open world action adventure that started life as a prequel to Black Desert Online, but was spun off into its own single player game. It's getting decent reviews. Not as high as some hoped, but it's definitely not sinking. It has a score of 78 on Metacritic, a top critic average score of 79 on OpenCritic, with 79% of critics recommending it, and on Steam, 72% of player reviews are positive. I haven't played it myself, but I've read some reviews, and common themes are that it can feel like playing a single-player MMO with a bloated world, but that it's ambitious, and it does some stuff really well. Combat is great, polish is lacking, story subpar. Depending on what you're looking for, it sounds like this is a game you can sink a ton of hours into and really enjoy, but that it definitely is rough around the edges. But I'm sure some of you folks have tried it, so what's the verdict? Sound off in the comments. Now folks, do be sure to check out last week's video in which we discussed former Blizzard game director Jeff Kaplan re-emerging to talk the dirty details about why he quit Blizzard. Because that's going to wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to join Rikers Raiders for more gaming content.
Some folks would look at my thumbnail today and say that's rage bait. And in the discourse around Bungie, Marathon, Destiny, all the stuff that's been going on recently, I've referred to people being haters more than once, and received a reply that I don't always appreciate, where folks instead refer to themselves as truthers, right? And sometimes that's completely fair. Other times, it's yet another attempt to actually justify something which is in fact toxic or hateful. Hopefully for those who watch the video for more than a minute, you'll understand that this is not in fact rage bait, and instead reflects the way that a lot of people actually feel at the moment. I have to talk about Marathon briefly because it is contextually important. Bungie drops the Cryo Archive this weekend, and man, Marathon does so many things incredibly well. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but there are loads of things that make Marathon incredibly unique. Lots of that lives inside of Cryo Archive, and for those who play Marathon, Cryo does indeed get some unique weapons. We see a couple of them here shared by Destiny Bulletin. One of them, the first contraband rarity weapon for Marathon, inspired by the compiler's weapon. This was shared by Tyrax here. Look at this thing. I have to say I'm incredibly jealous that I'll never fire it. And with Cryo drop-in, Bungie have been doing their critical updates, right? They fixed an anti-cheat error that caused folks to actually get kicked out of Cryo Archive runs very early on. But that isn't all they've been doing with Marathon. Game director Joe Ziegler has been doing an incredibly good job of actually communicating with the player base. And obviously, game direction at a high level is about using feedback to inform decisions on not only making a game, but reacting to that feedback over the course of time, right? And so naturally, communication with a game director is vitally important. And players of both Marathon and Destiny, that actually being a shared player base, I appreciate lots of Destiny players will never touch Marathon, but as we can see here, though it's shared, I miss Destiny. I wish the main game devs for Destiny cared as much about it as the Marathon devs care about Marathon. And they point out a large part of the Marathon dev team are active and talking about their work, but with D2, people who actually work on the game never speak except for the odd weapons designer. And G-, someone you'll perhaps be more familiar with, referencing Joe Ziegler specifically said, we need someone like Joe to run D2. And they point out that Cryo was announced, players are unhappy about the weekend lockout for it, and Joe Ziegler responded a few hours later with a long thread justifying Bungie's design goals, and while he didn't make promises that he won't be able to keep, he acknowledged some of the feedback and said they'll continue to iterate, directly referencing a bunch of pieces of feedback and how they're absorbing that for the future. As G- said, it's refreshing knowing a game director is actively seeking feedback, listening to it, and communicating. So as we've outlined, game direction is not only about the stuff you do behind the scenes to develop and sustain the game, but the dialogue is vitally important here. And so, players have noticed, we have not been getting that in D2 whatsoever. I'll also say right here, this is not about being hateful towards Tyson Green. Some folks will choose to do that, and I recognize there is a difference between criticism and hate. For me personally, I don't know what kind of position Tyson Green has actually been in at Bungie, whether Sony and the higher-ups at the studio were actually allowing this kind of communication between Tyson and the community and the dev team in general. So I absolutely do not intend to push a hateful narrative, but players are drawing this comparison. So again, looking at a timeline of events really, Edge of Fate was of course a big tipping point in terms of the game direction for Destiny changing. Lots of things were implemented back then that of course are still the primary systems for Destiny 2 right now, but players took massive issues with those systems, right? And while Bungie are being incredibly responsive about Marathon issues at the moment, they absolutely were not doing the same thing with regards to the systems we had in Edge of Fate. I appreciate they did make changes, but through the entire launch period of Edge of Fate, D2 players had a feeling that Bungie were dragging their feet, right? We would give feedback, that feedback wasn't really acknowledged in any kind of speedy fashion, right? The first 2 weeks, 4 weeks after Edge of Fate, Bungie did remain largely very quiet about things like the power grind, the featured gear system. And if we contrast that to the communication we've had in Marathon, I appreciate that Destiny probably requires much more time investment to actually make changes because it's an older, more bloated game. And we know the technical challenges exist, but there's still a big difference where we weren't getting that feedback to say, right, we hear what you're saying, we can't make changes in the next week or two, but we're having those discussions, right? And of course, with Tyson Green making a comparison to Ziegler and the dev teams, we have never directly heard from Tyson Green as Destiny 2's game director. Not on social media, but also not in the form of a blog post, not even a quick line in the twit. The only time that Bungie have really put Tyson Green forward since Edge of Fate was when Renegades was around the corner as part of a marketing exercise to try and sell more expansion content, right? And players noticed this. That's the problem. And so we absolutely wonder why the dialogue and those lines of communication have been absolutely closed with regards to the Destiny franchise, especially in the context that Destiny, while its player numbers are incredibly low right now, has always been a considerably bigger game than Marathon. I'll make that Edge of Fate example again. I know some folks hate the Steam chart discussion, but the Edge of Fate expansion outperformed Marathon in terms of player numbers. And considering it was priced the same and the financial investment that Bungie have made into Marathon, where we can assume that that financial investment was bigger than what was put into Edge of Fate or Year of Prophecy specifically. I mean, I may be wrong on that, but it's absolutely crazy that you can have something as big as Destiny and just not want to invest into that conversation to any extent, right? And that's the part that I would call fucking depressing, because ultimately loads of us absolutely love all of the stuff that Bungie have done with the Destiny franchise. And I often see it referenced where players say, but you had your 10 years of content, we had a good run, now's the time to stop talking about it. But while I'd say you're absolutely correct if Bungie had announced, hey, we're cycling Destiny down, right? We're going to focus on other other things. We might make a D3, or we're simply not doing that. We're just going to focus on Marathon. Whichever of those scenarios may have been true in this theoretical world, if Bungie had said that, then I would understand the statement, right? That yeah, players should just move on. But Bungie haven't said that. They're still at this precise moment, despite the fact that they haven't delivered on the roadmap they promised. Again, massive numbers of broken promises from Bungie. At this precise moment, they're still saying, as we approach that delayed June update, we will talk about our plans for the future of Destiny 2. And I think that takes a lot of weight away from the argument that players should simply move on if they in fact do want to continue to play Destiny, right? If there is some kind of future for Destiny, and I really do hope there is, while I appreciate they can't turn around changes as quickly as what Bungie can do with Marathon, much of that being technical, I think it's fair to say, they absolutely need to start communicating with the Destiny audience more. Look back to when Joe Blackburn was game director. Again, it's another comparison that people make between where we are now and what we had back then. He'd have these video discussions where, sure, he'd outline some changes that were concrete, some things that Bungie were absolutely going to do, promises, if you like, but there'd also be plenty of things that were kind of on the bucket list, where instead of making promises that can't be kept, they'd talk about things that they would love to do in an ideal world, or ideas that they were investigating. And that conversation with regards to Destiny is completely broken down, which is why so many people are absolutely heartbroken. And there's a thread here on Reddit, actually. It pointed out that Braytech, you guys will know about the Braytech site or app, the dev there had pointed out that they were basically struggling to pay the bills to actually keep the servers online, and the site was about to shut down within 24 hours. Fortunately, they were able to borrow some money from a friend to cover service costs for the next month, which is really cool to see. It's really sad that some of these community services are slowly going by the wayside, right? Although it isn't surprising, we're seeing many parts of this community just crumble at the moment, but in response to that, as James of Doom pointed out right here, Marathon hasn't done poorly because the game isn't good. Marathon's actually excellent. Huge amount of content for an extraction shooter on release, best-in-class gameplay, great lore. And as someone who's enjoyed Marathon, I absolutely agree with that statement. And I think, as others have said, if Marathon had been made by a different studio, while it isn't absolutely perfect, I'm confident that the game could absolutely have a bigger player count right now, could absolutely have more folks investing into it. But as he points out, Marathon is doing badly because the greater community hates Bungie. Bungie have chewed through all of its goodwill from how it treated Destiny, ranging from Eververse, DLC prices, DLC content being bad, content drought, sunsetting, crossovers, and he basically points out Marathon couldn't dodge that stink, which is another reason that I've always been mind blown that Bungie had a really poor strategy around marketing Marathon by continuing with the kind of empty feeling promises about Destiny, kicking the roadmap or future of D2 conversation down the road over and over again, delaying content with a week and a half's notice for a community that has supported the game for 10 years. While we know Marathon's player counts aren't huge, I can't say whether that's a commercial success or not because I'm not a games business person. I suspect they wanted it to do better than it is, but why would you burn so much trust and goodwill repeatedly during the marketing cycle for your new game? That's like mind-blowing. I really don't want to rabbit on anymore, but ultimately what I'm saying is if Bungie want a future for Destiny, which we can't confirm if that's even true right now, they have to improve their communication pipeline. And that doesn't always mean pushing updates for things on incredibly short notice, but having some kind of dialogue is the only way to sustain a live service game, and Bungie know that. And it indeed makes their treatment of Destiny 2 even more mind-boggling. Having said that, good luck to Bungie, good luck to everyone in the community, good luck to the folks who've made community tools, invested their energy, their creativity into this community over time. Same for me, I'm not perfect, I'm just a human being, but I've consistently tried to give Bungie the feedback that I see from players of Destiny and Marathon. Ultimately, the goal being that we want the best possible video games, man, and I want to feel like Bungie want that for Destiny as well. Give me your thoughts below, guys. I'll keep you up to date with everything that we do get on the Bungie front. But for now, cheers for watching, and I hope you have an awesome